Hi folks, this is John with the Wingman 115 channel. We're at SHOT Show and I happen to bump into Mr. Tom Miranda. Sir, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day.
No worries.
I know that you can't go 10 feet without somebody stopping you and wanting to talk to you, take a photo, so we really appreciate it. Can you give a little bio on your history and what you're doing?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thanks for stopping me. It's always great to be able to get on YouTube out there and circulate a little bit of history about bow hunting and things. But I grew up as a trapper in Columbus, Ohio. At 11 years old, I started running a trap line. And to me, across the street, there was a railroad track and a river, and it was like the Yukon to me. In the back of my mind and in my imagination, I was trapping in the wilderness. And I always enjoyed the outdoors, even though I played baseball, ice hockey, football, ran track, all the things that you do when you're growing up. I ended up moving to Michigan, building a log cabin, and starting to be a professional trapper when I got out of high school. I didn't go to college. My dad looked at me like he was gut shot when I said, I'm not going to college to be an engineer like you are, Dad. I'm going to be an outdoorsman. I trapped in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan for a while. I ended up getting a job as a government trapper in South Dakota, and I moved to South Dakota in 1983. And I started writing books about trapping. I made videos about trapping. And one thing led to another. My very first video, Fox and Coyote Trapping East to West, I sold $100,000 worth of videos in 2 months in 1985. Because nobody had anything like it. When I took the job as a government trapper, I learned to fly. Because part of my job was to kill coyotes that kill sheep, and we used to shoot them out of a Super Cub. And I knew the pilot well, so I got flying lessons, I got my license, I bought my own plane, and I used to run my trap line with my airplane. So it was kind of a novelty. So some of those first videos has me flying my trap line, and that's why I did so well with it. Eventually I wanted to do a TV show after I made 15 trapping videos. And I met Jimmy Houston at a sports show, and I went up to his booth and I said, Jimmy, I want to do a TV show like you. I want to do it on trapping. And he kind of scratched. He goes, man, I don't know, trapping just probably not going to fly. He goes, it's kind of controversial and not a lot of guys do it. He goes, do you do anything else? I said, yeah, I love bow hunting. He goes, there you go. Yeah. He goes, do one on bow hunting. So I eventually started doing a show called The Outdoor Adventure Magazine, Hunting, Fishing, Adventure. I would rock climb, bungee jump, skydive. I walked on fire. I flew all these different types of planes, F-14 jets, all of it. And, but I always bow hunted. And I ended up getting on ESPN in 1992. July 4th, 1992, my show appeared on ESPN, and I was on ESPN for 20 years. That's where most people recognize
that's where I recognize you from
being on ESPN.
Most definitely.
So I've always enjoyed bow hunting, and I made it a career, and I'm pretty much the luckiest guy around.
Now, I'm going to ask you just a curveball question. Out of the Super Slam, what do you consider was the most challenging hunt out of all the 29 that you pursued?
Super Slam is a collection of slams. You know, you've got to get the caribou slam, the moose slam, the sheep slam. Obviously the sheep's the hardest and the most expensive. It's not only physically challenging, mentally challenging. A lot of long shots, a lot of disappointing stalks. You know, where the bow hunter stalk begins, the gun hunter's already killed out. So it's a lot tougher. The Canmore bighorn ram that I shot in Canmore, Alberta, in the bow hunting zone there, it's a November hunt at 10,000 feet in the Canadian Rockies. So it's 2 feet of snow, 25 below zero. That was the hardest hunt I ever did.
Definitely
and I've
a
done
challenge.
a lot of hunts.
Now, with your background in video and doing a lot of TV stuff, there's a lot of folks out there that are new to the genre. YouTube, even though it's been around 10 years, is still relatively new. There's other mediums with video. Do you have any advice for that young guy, young gal, looking to maybe do some sort of outdoors channel, some inspiring things that you've learned along the way that may help them?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, find your niche. Secondly, don't give up. Don't quit. The only way I've gotten to this point is I've just never given up. I've always just worked all the way to the end. I tell people on the Super Slam, you don't get one animal, you don't get the Super Slam, you get one animal at a time.
Right.
You don't eat an elephant, you eat one bite at a time. That's just kind of how it works. And when you start talking about production, you've got to be a storyteller. So you have to think about the story, and you tell the story one sentence at a time. You tell the story with video one shot at a time, and you have to build that story And if you have a niche and you have a passion to do what you're doing, that passion will show through in your work if you don't quit and you work hard at it. And I think if you keep all those things in mind, and just, if you don't get as many clicks as you want, if you get negative feedback on your video, learn from that. Don't take it as a negative. Turn negatives into positives. That's how you become successful. Sometimes you blow a stalk, you blow a shot. I've blown a lot of them. But if I just quit and throw down my bow and pick up a gun and shoot the animal, I'm not a bow hunter anymore. That's not what I want to be. So that's what you have to think about.
Now, for avid archers getting into archery, I'm a traditional guy. I mean, the only compound I ever had was a bare whitetail from way back in the day. I'm dating myself on this. I took it to an archery shop to get a new string, and they said it was a relic. But, hey, when your dad gets it for you when you're 15, it's a family heirloom. Do you have any tips for any up-and-coming archers that may help them kind of mentally when you're hunting to improve their game?
Well, the reality of bow hunting is there's so many things that can go wrong. When you start having a problem, you start changing things you're doing right. It comes back to the fundamentals. It comes back to your anchor point and your positioning and your breathing and relaxing and all the things that go with what it takes to make a good shot. And how you get to all those things is by practicing, because in a hunt, you've got to have this huge amount of not only desire to get close and skills to get close, but you've got to learn that you're going to have to do it over and over and over again, and that's why you have to practice so much. It's the confidence that you need to be successful, to know that when you go to full draw at 15 yards and the caribou walks by, finally, after maybe 20 attempts, that you're going to put the pin on him and you're going to make the shot. If you shoot over his back, then it's a total do-over. So you have to really consider the fact that practicing and practicing and practicing. If it's not doing it right, even get lessons. Go to the pro shop.
Right.
Talk to somebody who knows. If you get target panic, go to somebody who knows. Get over it. Move forward, because that practicing is going to come full circle in the hunt.
Oh yeah. Well, I saw on video you were up in Alaska hunting deer. You got a buck running towards you on the run, and you're shooting him. I mean, that takes a level of confidence to take that shot.
Well, the reality is, if you don't shoot, you'll never get one. And you can have people say, well, that wasn't an unethical shot. That was probably, if you always wait for the perfect broadside shot at 10 yards at full draw, you're going to get very few trophies. You're going to get very few meat for the table. You've got to shoot to kill out. And so you have to practice and know your yardages and know your angles of the deer and know what's going on. And we were struggling on that hunt. In that situation, we got to have snow to bring the deer out of the thick woods down to the beaches. And we cruise in a boat and watch the beaches for these deer to come out, and what they eat is kelp, because they don't paw through those are big forests, rainforests up there. So they come down and eat the kelp on the beach. And we weren't seeing anything because there wasn't enough snow. So we did a deer drive. And if you're going to do a deer drive with a bow, you're going to have to shoot a running animal. Yeah. And that's what happened.
See, this struggle for us in San Diego, where we live, drought, it's so dry that it's hard to even stalk deer. You're sitting in a stand, and especially with the water situation, there's not a lot of water, so it's kind of hit and miss. And for traditional guys, us getting 15 yards to get a good ethical shot, I mean, we had a hard time this year. We got skunked quite a bit, but for us, it's more than just killing the deer. It's the bonding time with friends and family and folks that are out there. What projects do you have lined up for 2017, and how can folks find you?
Well, I'm working on a video DVD set called The Dark Continent, Adventure Bowhunter Dark Continent. And it's the 29 animals of Africa, the big six, the elephant, rhino, hippo, Cape buffalo, lion, and leopard. I've done all those animals of Africa with a bow, and I'm making a similar video to my Super Slam video.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. You can go online at adventurebowhunter.com or tommiranda.com. They both lead to the same website. And I got a lot of cool stuff on there.
How many years have you been working on that project?
Well, it took me 18 years to finish all the world or the animals for the African Slam.
See, a lot of people don't realize that. They think they're going to watch a DVD and go, "Oh, this happened in 2 seasons."
No, my Super Slam
this is a
took
lifetime.
13 years.
Yeah.
So these are lifetime achievements. These are very difficult things to accomplish. I've been to Africa 39 times
Nice.
to complete that. And that's because I only use a bow, and sometimes there's do-overs. You know, you don't always get one.
Right. Well, Tom, thank you so much for coming on the channel. We appreciate it.
Great to
and
meet
the
you,
best
man.
of luck in 2017.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.